This is the Lockpicking Newbie, and today we're going to continue the series on the Medeco, very exciting, by talking about how to learn to pick a Medeco, because this is not something you just, at least it's not something a newbie just grabs out of the box and picks. Okay, there's a bunch of resources on the web, as always. And the first one I want to talk about is a web page by what's called Asshat Labs, and I'll put a link in the description. And it's a text web page, and it has information on all the different variations of Medeco locks. It has instructions on how to pick them, and it's really, really, really cool. It talks about the different designs, the different design features, and all that. Okay. The other resource is a video by Lockfall Laboratories, and I'll put a link there. In that video, he shows how to use a pick like a gem to turn the keys by kind of rolling back and forth across the chisel point. Now, I'm not going to duplicate his video, so I'll put a link to that. And finally, Curious Lockpicker, who is also on r /lockpicking. He's a black belt, I think, and he's on the Discord. He has several pick and gut videos, which are very instructional. Now, what's interesting about all this instruction is it gives a very linear progression. If you tension the lock counterclockwise, it's supposed to tension the sidebar first, and then you set those pins, then you set the pins to shear line. Whereas if you tension the bar clockwise first, supposedly it tensions off of the shear lines first. So you set all the pins to shear line and then rotate them for the sidebar gates. And as we're about to see, this particular lock, while that information is valuable, this particular lock has other ideas. So let's get started. Okay, we have the Medeco set up in the vise, and we've got 3 of the chambers pinned. It's going to be chambers 1, 3, and 5. And I'm going to try to show getting an open with 3 pins. So like we talked about, clockwise, supposedly the bar goes first, counterclockwise bar, clockwise pins. I'll do clockwise, and we'll just see how far we get. I'm back on 5, good tight binding on 5, and a short click. Good click on 3, and now 1 is kind of loose. So, like we discussed in the tutorials and everything, they say, oh, set the pins first, then set the gates. So the shear lines first, then set the gates, then rotate. But where we're at right now is we're in a pretty difficult spot as far as getting pin 1 set. Let's see what I can do. A little bit counter rotation, maybe a click, I don't know. So in the meantime, I'm going back, I'm feeling 5, it feels pretty firm, so I'm lightening up the tension, and I'm trying to turn that pin. And I'm just kind of flicking it. I'm gonna use the gem here, 18 thousandths, of course. Now I'm flicking 5. Feels like it's loose, so let's come to 3. It's loose all kinds of ways. Maybe I dropped a pin. Let me see if 5 needs to be set again. Nope. 3 is weighted, so I guess 3 is good. And now that we've set the sidebar on those other 2 pins, now 1 is nice and firm. So let's see what it looks like. I'm coming up to the warding and an open. So I think what we're learning about this particular lock is that pin 1 is different. Now it does have that mushroom in it, so we'll see how it goes with more pins. Okay, we have the Medeco assembled now with only the pins in it. You can see I've got the sidebar out of it. Very nice little piece of steel there. And what we're gonna see is the way that the pins pick is really different. And I guess if I wasn't a newbie, this wouldn't be a surprise to me. So the binding order is pretty much the same no matter what I do. Pin 6 is a little bit loose. Gotta click on 5, click on 6, click on 4, 3, 2, and now watch what happens with 1. Big feedback as it goes through the tapered part of that mushroom, counter rotation, and an open. So the difference without the sidebar is you completely come through all the feedback for the mushroom. But with the sidebar in place, when I insist on doing sidebar first, then pins, or pins first, then sidebar, when I get to pin 1 there, I just don't get the feedback. So that's going to inform the next phase of how we figure out how to pick this. Okay guys, so where we stand with the Medeco right now is we got some insights into how the mechanisms work. I showed you a 3-pin open, and I have actually gotten it open with 5 pins. We saw how incredibly different it picks without the sidebar in it, so that makes a big difference. But as I have attacked this thing with all 6 pins in it, I'm back to pin 1 being very, very vague. And so I think it's going to come down to building my skill on setting the gates. And once I have the gates set reliably, I expect pin 1 to come back, and hopefully we'll be able to get an open. But in the meantime, that's all I have for you. This is the Lockpicking Newbie thanking you for all the participation in the channel, and have a good day.